And good morning. Welcome to Focus on Stafford County on 1590 KVGB 97.7 FM, our once-a-month visit with our friends from Stafford County. Joining us from Stafford County Economic Development Director Carolyn Dunn, also Program Director for Stafford County EcoDevo. A Maxville Mustang jacket there you got sporting?
Volleyball jacket, but it looks like the Maxville M.
Oh, okay. Good representation here today from Ashley Bevan. Also, Kathleen Norman, AmeriCorps VISTA volunteer, back for the program today.
Good morning, Steve.
Hi, guys.
Good morning.
Good to see you all. Okay. I don't know if we got to have enough information to get through the show today, Carolyn. I'm just... You didn't mention that once today, so
I'm trying to not say that because I know I'm a broken record, so I wasn't going to say it, but you did it for me.
And it has never happened since you have been coming on the show for many, many years now. Okay, so let's talk about some of those topics that you've laid out so perfectly for me because you know me very well. I need a very precise outline.
Well, some of the things we thought we'd talk about today that are going on in Stafford County. In the last month, we've had a visit from the K-State College of Architecture. They have a fifth-year studio program that is going to be doing a design-build project focused on St. John. So that was a really fun day. It's always a good day when you've got youth of that age that are curious and ambitious and interested, and they spent the day learning about the demographics of our county and St. John in particular. We took time to look around the county. They had already done a lot of research on the housing that we have. They're quite skilled at knowing what kinds of GIS data is out there. You know, they didn't even have to get it from me. They found a lot of data that was accurate. We talked about that, the housing age. 90 years old is the average age of house in Stafford County. We have, I think, on average, 2.3 houses that have been built per year in the last 20 or 30 years. And on average, we lose about 13. So you can see there's a need to replace the inventory and to invest in a more current, just more modern current options. So
yeah, kind of review us on what they are wanting to do here.
So we're trying to find a sweet spot of what is modern and affordable. And a challenge for us has been what is new isn't always affordable. It's just not. You know, we have, 40% of our population, 45% of our population makes $37,000 a year and less as a household. So that's pretty modest. We are considering doing some housing programs. We've already made some application. We'll continue that in the coming year, a second phase of that. But that housing program would allow us to build housing that is targeting those who make 80% of median income and lower. So again, that's $36,000 or $37,000 for a household of one. And 45% of our population fit in that demographic. So the challenge is how do you make housing affordable for incomes in that arena? It's not uncommon to see moderate income housing that would be built by programs. Here in Great Bend, we've tried it in Stafford County. You would see it in anywhere around the state. The new housing that may be pushing a couple $100,000 to build, and it just doesn't fit the affordability for the incomes that prevail in our area. So we've got to figure out a more affordable than that option. So what we're trying to do is to hit something more at the $100,000 price point, and it's going to be simple. It's not going to have all of the amenities, but it will be new and, open floor plan, energy efficient. That is a huge, actually, aspect. You can design these that take, if you put solar panels on it, which we're not necessarily designing into it, that it would take a net zero energy consumption. But even without that aspect of solar panels, it's not going to be something that takes a lot to heat and cool. So they're not going to have all of the amenities that maybe we like to specify. They won't have full basements. They won't have attached garages. But again, I think that we can really work to design something that is, has got 3 bedrooms and 2 baths that, meets the basic needs for people without it being something that is such a struggle to afford.
And energy efficient, as you mentioned. So what's this information that these architecture students gathered, and what are they going to do with it now?
Well, I think, again, they're seeing a lot of this for maybe the first time, that whole dynamic of what is affordable. So I think they were really getting their hands around what is the demographic, what's the, in terms of income, what is already here, what do people want? Some of that was maybe a little bit of a discussion to, cultural choices that we make, So for example, I think a small single family detached house probably has more relevance here than an apartment complex. I think we kind of live in a rural environment where we're accustomed to having a little bit of our own space. And so we're not as much going toward a townhouse type of option as they might, in a more urban area. We had lunch where we invited a selection of people from around the town that had some particular interest or background that we thought was relevant. They were either young adults that had moved to town within the last couple of years and had looked for rental housing and knew all of the challenges and the limited options that are there. We had a contractor that not only is familiar with the construction process, but as I told him, he's probably been in literally a lot of the houses around town working on them at some point. We had a city council member. We had a couple of employers. One of those employers, Joey Noland, is general manager at White's Food Liner. So he kind of fits both categories. They employ a lot of people, but he's also been one that has looked for housing in the not distant past. So from all those discussions, I hope they were able to kind of get a better feel for what we think people will appreciate and expect in housing here. But
you come up with
balance
kind of
it with,
I don't know, a plan that people can come in. This is what I'm looking for, and you've already got kind of plans laid out. Okay, this is some of the things. I mean, is it a catalog of homes?
Well, what they will do in their
or
class
even for a developer
or
somebody like that.
Candidly, their professor has given us one that we're able to use for. It's something he's designed
and has not shared with his students.
Exactly.
Okay.
And it's given us something to be able to use as a basis for some grant funding applications. They're going through, it's an educational process for them. So they're going through a design process. They will probably come up with half a dozen prototypes. And I haven't learned exactly what their selection process is going to be, because they're only going to be able to build one for us in the spring. I don't know what their method is of choosing the plan of those but they'll be in small groups. Is there 17 students in the class? Something like that.
So they're going to build a house.
And and the way that they're going to be able to build the house, even though they're in Manhattan, is their methodology is using structural insulated panels. So they're building the panels in a workshop, and they'll come out as a group and then assemble those panels. And that process, depending on, I actually went to a conference last week on housing and chose a session on structural panels. And there are different methods of constructing them and assembling them, but some of them to go together and really, truly, the rough end of the house in less than a day, because you're just locking together prefabricated components. And I got a lot of assurance, too, out of listening to a session on this, like I said, at this housing conference, that the structural integrity of them is really just as good, if not better, than traditional stick build, because the insulation can be like blown in. It can be a rigid insulation that actually is a part of bonding all of the...
You're talking to a radio guy. Don't look...
Well, the studs, all of the things that are what comprise the wall, that insulation can be basically a part of that, and it adds structural strength to it, and that is a big part of why they are so energy efficient, is that there's not so many opportunities for voids and where air can get in and so forth. So I really believe that this can be something that is of good quality too, even though it is designed to be affordable just by design.
Yeah, attractive in a community.
Right.
don't mind somebody building one of these. It's not a tiny town that we're
It's
building.
not. I mean, I keep saying they're small houses, not tiny houses. We're
Right.
not doing what I feel is almost a gimmicky kind of thing where you're climbing a ladder to sleep in a loft or
Right,
something
right.
You know, they are not going to be big, but they're not going to be something that goes on a chassis and travels down the road either.
Well, look at a lot of houses in every town. We have a bunch of those type houses. They're smaller than what you're talking about that we still have, and they're old.
Yeah.
So let's get some bigger housing that is nice and has some amenities in it. Okay, Ashley Bevan, Oktoberfest in Stafford.
Yes. So the 30th annual Stafford Oktoberfest is coming up on Saturday, October 5th. And a few things to highlight. On Friday the 4th, to kind of kick things off, they're doing music bingo and a beer garden on West Broadway starting at 7. And then Saturday morning, there's going to be a kids' 100-yard fun dash at 9 a.m. I'm just going to highlight a few things. This obviously isn't everything on the schedule, but 10 o'clock is a parade. 1 o'clock, they're having angry axe throwing. And then Nora E. Larrabee library tours. So that library has gone through some renovations of its own in the past, couple years probably. It's changed quite a bit. So I encourage people to walk through there if they haven't. At 2 o'clock, there's going to be Stafford Rec tours. 5:30 an alumni banquet, and then after dark they're doing fireworks. And unfortunately this year, they are not doing wiener dog races.
What?
They aren't.
No way!
I know this was a shocking surprise to me as well, but I think the individual that has been doing this, it was going to be a lot to get thrown together this year, and they're not doing it, but they are doing pumpkin races. So this isn't, I know, Steve's giving me this weird look, but you're designing a pumpkin car. So you're putting it on wheels of some sort, and then you're letting gravity do the rest.
So it's going to be like the soapbox derby.
I don't know where they're doing this, but they had a fun little poster made up with pumpkins on wheels, and they're doing a couple prizes. So for the furthest distance, first place will get $100, second place $50, and then there's 3 different divisions. So family, club, troop, and class is one, adult is another, and then under 16 is the third. But there will be a $25 prize for the best decorated and design in each one of those 3 divisions. So that's the new thing this year. But yes, there will not be wiener dog races for those of you that go just for that. They have their buttons for sale, $3 until the day of the event. And that's for raffle prizes. So they have a 55-inch smart TV, an Arctic cooler, an Alexia, a $200 Visa gift card, $150 Paul's grocery certificate, a Ring doorbell camera, and a 31-inch grill and fire pit combo. There will also be food vendors there. So there's a barbecue truck. Russ and Annie's has turkey legs and cranberry pecan chicken wraps and grilled lemonade. So I looked at Kathleen this morning. I said, what is grilled lemonade?
So apparently they grill the lemons and put those inside the lemonade. That's what I was told when I was at the state fair the other week.
I've
Getting
never
a
heard
scouting
of this.
report on the Oktoberfest in Stafford.
There'll be Bubba's Grubs, so Philly cheesesteaks, chicken strips, wings, fried pickles, fried Oreos. The American Legion riders are having your classic hamburgers, hot dogs, brats, and pie. And then the junior class is doing more of your breakfast stuff, so breakfast burritos, cinnamon rolls, or donuts, and coffee. So that's kind of the rundown of the 30th annual Oktoberfest, which I still, in the 5 years I've lived in Stafford County, I've never been able to go to an Oktoberfest event because I always have something going on that weekend.
And this
Past
year,
couple of years, it's been volleyball tournaments or weddings.
so this year,
Volleyball tournament
Oh.
and a wedding in Manhattan.
Okay.
So I've got a full day lined up.
and this is going to be on October
5th.
Okay, October 5th.
First Saturday in October is always when Stafford does their big annual event. So they have a website. So if you want more information, there's also a Facebook page. I kind of just gave you some highlighted things here.
A fun community event. Also, Save a Label program.
Yeah, so back when White's opened in the fall, we talked about this program. So I just wanted to remind everyone, Best Choice, Save a Label. If you buy Best Choice products in the grocery store and take off the UPC code, our organization will collect them and then turn them back in. So every 1,000 labels that we collect, we get $30 to use as we want. I have not. I need to go around and collect the labels. I think the one at the grocery store is actually getting pretty full, and I have a whole bag on the side of my refrigerator I need to bring in.
Come on.
I'm to that point now where I think there's enough I can count them and send some in. So if people will do that, it'll start adding up. Yeah.
Kathleen Norman, AmeriCorps VISTA volunteer.
Yes.
You had a nice story in the Pratt Tribune. I saw that. That was very nice. Tell me about Workspace 311 assessment online.
We have Workspace 311 going on. We had our open house last month and talked about that. We have a remote work assessment that people can find on our website as a way to, if they fill out the assessment, we can kind of review their information to see how we can assist them in finding remote work. We have a couple of programs and ways that we'll be able to assist them. We have a partnership with Flex Jobs that is an online job board, and that will help people find legitimate, real jobs that can help meet their needs. So there's a number of different opportunities. Some are full-time with regular hours. Others are more flexible. There's part-time things available. And so, but if the first step in wanting to kind of utilize our programming is to take our online remote work assessment. And that, again, is found on our website.
Okay. Now, tell me about how Workspace 311 is going so far.
It's going well. So we've been open just about a month, and we have one person who comes in and uses the space regularly for co-working. And then we've had 2 people already sign up for some of the programming that we're offering. And we've had about probably 12 people take the remote work assessment. And so they're in various stages of deciding whether or not they want to be part of our programming. So it's been good. We're making progress, and I don't know. I think we're looking forward to seeing how everything continues to unfold.
I think it's going to start growing. People start finding out more about it. I'm looking forward to seeing the progress, how this goes. Now, I didn't know you were an artist.
Yeah.
So you're going to paint a mural in downtown Stafford? Is that what you're doing?
Well, I've started.
Okay.
So on September 11th is a National Day of Service and Remembrance. And so as an AmeriCorps VISTA, I was allowed to use my normal volunteer hours to work on a different community service project.
Wow.
And so I worked with the Mayor, Julie Lyon, in Stafford. She had a space that she had kind of envisioned having a mural on, and so I worked with her to develop a sketch and design for that, and we got most of it up the 11th and 12th, and then I've been continuing to do some touch-up work the past couple weeks, so it'll be officially done before Oktoberfest.
Where is it located?
So it is on Main Street right next to the Ritz Theater, and so that's the movie theater on.
Okay, what is the mural of?
So it is a pair of wings, and there's a sunflower in the middle, and the rest of the design is colorful but abstract. And so we're going to add a tagline to it about spread your wings and see how far you can soar. Julie Lyon had done a project with the 2nd and 3rd graders earlier in the spring where they painted birds, kind of talking about legacy and what they like about the community. And so those will also be attached to the mural space.
So isn't the way that those wings are drawn intended that a person could stand in between the 2 wings, and it's a photo opportunity that makes it look like those wings are
yes
theirs?
I know where I'm going today.
Yes. So that's exactly it. So it literally is 2 wings that people can stand in the middle of and then get their photo taken where it looks like they have wings themselves.
Did you get a lot of people slow down when you?
Yeah, there's a lot of slow drive-bys, and then there's other people who are yelling out the window, "It looks great. That's so awesome." So it's been really cool to see kind of the community's reaction so far. It's been a lot of positive feedback, at least that I've received. And so I think it will be probably one of the highlights at Oktoberfest when you have a lot of people from out of town coming to see it. A lot of people are like, what used to be there? And it was just a beige wall.
Right.
And so it just really has added kind of life and color, and it's fun.
Is Julie a good artist?
Julie is not the artist.
Okay.
So Julie was the one who had the brainchild.
Okay. Well, that's
And
that's what mayors do.
I've helped develop that.
That's what mayors
So,
do. Did you
yes.
ever think you'd be painting a mural in Stafford, Kansas?
I did not, but it's been fun.
Okay. It's been an interesting journey for you, hasn't it?
Yes.
She's done a lot in her 7 months she's been with us.
She has.
So we got a mural in downtown Stafford coming up. You mentioned on here, Carolyn, the MIH conference. That's that housing conference you went to, right?
Well, it was a housing conference in general. It's sponsored by the Kansas Housing Resources Corporation.
Okay.
I went to it last week and felt like I don't know, it was a great conference. I hadn't gone to that one before, so there was a lot of new things to learn, and I just brought back a lot of ideas that I think we can apply here, or just as we hopefully are able to develop the concept that we already have in hand, maybe we'll have better tools to make sure that it's all of the management gets into place the way that it should. And anyway, so
housing just continues to be a huge challenge for everyone in rural America, really.
Well, in fact, I even told the college students when they were here, I said, if you can figure out something that works here, I think you will find interest all over rural Kansas. We're not the only ones that are dealing with this challenge. So I hope we find something here that kind of fills an unmet need.
Now, for a long, long time, probably 2 years from the time the grocery store closed, when we got the new one opened and everything, how are things going? I mean, it's a great look when you drive through St. John now.
It is. I find it really gratifying to see, too, that it's something that, well, it brings activity to our town. Yesterday, there was a bus there. I'm sure it was one of the sports teams in the region, but it was parked there, and my kids and I were joking, fill that up. But no. But it is, we would never have had a bus like that stop at our former grocery store. So it's doing well, meeting expectations, and I'm really glad that we did incorporate multiple things into that facility. I know that the gas has helped balance months when activity may not be where you want it to be on one other thing, but it all together works. And so we did a promotion recently on the ethanol that's available there. The idea that it is it's produced locally, so it supports local economy in more ways than one. And I think a lot of people have questions about whether their cars are compatible with that. So that was what the intent of that flyer was to provide clarity there.
Corn Commission there? Corn man out there?
Well, the Corn Commission, I say we did it. The Corn Commission is actually the one that sent out that educational piece.
All right, that's our show. Focus on Stafford County this week. News coming up next. Have a wonderful day, everybody.